Hello, everyone. Today is June 26th, 2024. This is the Kubernetes Data Protection Working Group meeting. So first, let's go over the status for CBT. Prasad, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So we have started raising PR. We also merged a couple of them. Those are mostly about adding CRDs and the code gen stuff, and then as well as the protocol file. So yeah, Carl and I are continuing on the server implementation. So we will keep raising the PRs. Yeah, so that's the update. I and Carl both are added in the Kubernetes CSR organization. So we can approve the PRs, and so those, yeah. So that allows us approving the PRs as well as merging the PRs.
Have you merged some PR already?
Yeah. So
okay.
I think the bot has already. So once the PR is approved, the bot I think automatically merges the PR.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
I think it doesn't.
Yeah. You do good to me. Yeah. Try to squash them before approving. Yeah. Unless if you want to, sometimes you want to keep it, but most of the time you probably don't need that much. Okay.
Yeah, I thought bot would do that, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
no, this one does not. I don't think we don't have that in the spot. All right. So I actually have not been following up with this one. How much work do you think is needed? I mean, when do you think we can get things there and then have like a basic working repo?
Yeah, so server implementation that shouldn't take much time since we already have prototype. It just we have to refactor and make it production ready. We are still not started. We haven't started the release tools. Adding the release tools to the PR. Sorry, adding release tools to the repo.
Yeah, that one can. Yeah, I think that one can come a little later. Yeah, we said that, right? So we get get it working first, and then that can come later.
Yeah. So yeah, we are not clear about that part. Otherwise, the server implementation that shouldn't take much time.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe yeah, on a very high level, I can think of like 20 to 30 days.
Okay.
We should have
about a month. Yeah. Okay.
Code at least ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out the testing, all the testing part. How do we want to automate the testing, and what kind of infrastructure we have available for it.
Right. So say functionality complete, right? It's about a month, right? Something like that. That's rough, right? It's just estimate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't figured out all the CI and automated test that would need for a Kubernetes repo. That's something.
So we did talk about this one. Ben, I thought we actually did we say it's like before the July 4th, right? Something like that. Ben, the CSI spec release.
The spec release. So we talked about it last Tuesday. Saad said he would kick off the process. I forget what he said the actual date that he was aiming for would be.
Yeah, I thought it's before because we're talking about the people will be taking off in the July 4th holiday. I remember something about that. So
Yes. Oh, yes, you're right. You're right.
Right?
He was going to aim for starting the voting on Monday, I think,
Okay.
or maybe
So
even Friday.
maybe next month, this Friday?
But possibly because like I'm going to be out all next week.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't mean I can't vote, right? Because I still get
Yeah.
email even on
Yeah,
vacation. But
Right.
yeah, I think that the idea was for someone who's really out all next week, maybe we should start on Friday.
Okay. Basically started like RC build, right?
Yeah, but basically he just has to cut the RC, which I mean
Okay.
we know what's in it. So it's just creating a tag
Okay.
and then putting it on the list to say, hey, how do you feel about releasing this and giving people some time to kick the tires?
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay, so so those are ongoing. This one is this one's merged, right? Some like old one. What is this? Is this for? Oh, because this one has the CPT change. That's okay. Oh yeah, okay. I see what I yeah, but it has to be a real release number. Okay. Let's see. We talked about this one last time. I remember. Okay. Anything else about CPT?
Yeah, I was wondering if we should wait for your or Ben's approval on the PRs because
Oh no, you
the
guys
board
can
merges the PR.
No, you can go ahead unless if you have any questions, you can pin me, Ben.
Okay.
Or Ben, is there anything specific you want to review before they merge it?
On which repo? The external snapshotter?
The external snapshotter
Yeah.
matter. This is in the repo, right? This is the
Yeah.
I
mean, as long as it complies with the spec, yeah.
Yeah, probably
I
also have not been following up. So let's see
so the thing that matters to me is that we have implementations we can test against to see that it actually works. Because the kind of stuff you can catch on a code review, I mean, code reviews are important, of course, but like
sometimes it's
all
hard.
All the major issues you're going to find by like actually having a driver and actually having a user and actually trying the workflow and being like, oh wait, this doesn't work.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I mean, having real driver with this feature that might take some time, but yeah, maybe for now we'll have to just mock the driver for testing.
So we do need to have those in the CSI test, right? So that's how we test we test those. Yeah. So we need to
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to merging code before it's fully tested because we have a lot of dependencies here. But like to get out of alpha, it needs to be fully tested. So I would say like let's get the code in as good quality as we can, get it merged, again get the implementations to actually use it, then use the demonstration of those things working together as proof of quality and functionality. So yeah, not all the testing has to be done up front, just as much as we can.
Right. Ben, is it fair to characterize the situation as we're trying to get into alpha?
Yeah. I mean, until we have an alpha implementation, we're not even in alpha. So
exactly. So yeah, this is still bootstrapping for sure.
By real implementation, you mean some service provider should implement this, and then we can actually test against the real driver,
or a storage vendor.
I think for Alpha, I don't think we have that requirement for Alpha. I think it's for beta we have like real implementation. For Alpha,
Right, to get from alpha
test driver,
to
you need
beta.
to have you need, yeah. For alpha, I think but you need to have like a test. I think you do have like a test implementation, right?
Yeah, but that's with mocked
Yeah, mock.
driver.
At least you have to have that one for alpha. Yeah. Yeah. So we do need that one. Yeah. So the mock implementation. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for this?
No, that's all as of now.
Okay. So the second topic I have is we are working on moving volume group snapshot to beta. So Ben, we actually talked about this one the other day. So we right now IBM has 2 implementations, but it's from the one vendor, right? So SafeFS and SafeRBD. So we are looking for more vendors to implement the volume group snapshot, but I don't see other storage vendors here today in this meeting. So I probably need to check with Tom from Dell because he actually reviewed the CAP and the CSS flag. Let's see if they are ready to implement this.
We could put out a request in a Xing storage meeting, or we could just reach out to people in the Slack channel. Actually, the Slack channel might be the best way because there's a lot of people that just idle there. If we could put out like an announcement saying like, hey, there's this new alpha feature, we need interested vendors to implement it in order for it to get to beta. Who wants to volunteer, you know?
Yeah. I can also reach out to Tom because he was definitely interested, just to know if just to want to see if they are actually ready to do that. Okay. Yeah, maybe just to bring this up. We have a meeting tomorrow, right? It's 6:30 meeting. And in the meanwhile, we have been adding metrics, adding E2 test. What E2 test is still working in progress. Metrics are already added. Yeah. So. Next topic. Reverse snapshot. So this is we also talked about this one in the CSI meeting the other day, Ben. Just want to see if there is any vendor interested in this feature. So
in revert snapshot.
Yeah. Probably should also bring it up in the 6:30 meeting or be more sort of.
I mean, I think what we would need is a use case where the current copy or create volume from snapshot was insufficient to argue for this, because there's so many we know about all the downsides of revert,
right? Yeah, but
so it's like if we can avoid it, I think we should. If there's a slam dunk use case where it's like, oh, okay, create volume from snapshot just doesn't work for such and such, then it can be like, okay, that's a reason to go deal with all the ugliness involved with actually doing an in-place revert. But one of the things I like about the Kubernetes snapshot API is that it is simple and it doesn't have that ugliness.
Yeah, revert definitely. This is more about, people have been using this feature, using it before. They want to also have it in this new Kubernetes environment, right? So we haven't had this. This was brought up a while back. Somebody brought that, but after that, I have not heard anyone asking for this feature. Definitely.
I mean, if you think about how volumes are used in Kubernetes, it would be very hard to do an in-place revert without also bouncing the workload that was consuming the volume. And if you're willing to bounce the workload that's using the volume, then like you could have just clone the snapshot to a new volume and set your workload to work on the new volume. So it's like I'm just not seeing the need.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And then the next one is the replication. I think that's still needs some time to sort that out. If I look at the implementation from WMC and NetApp, looks like they are not considering static provisioning. Is that true, Ben? I don't see.
Sorry, static provisioning of what?
I was saying, I was talking about the replication, right? I know that in WMC's case, they only support dynamic provisioning. In the NetApp case, do you know do they support static provisioning? Just mean, well, if the relationship is already there.
You gotta be more specific about what you mean. Like
static provisioning. Okay. Okay, maybe this provision is kind of wrong word. Just like static. So basically, it's like importing. Maybe just importing existing relationship, importing existing application relationship.
Oh no, because the what we inevitably design and implement at the Kubernetes layer will be a tiny subset of what like every vendor supports, right? Because every vendor has a million options, and not all those options are going to make it into Kubernetes. So like, you don't want to have a situation where like someone has set up replication and tweaked all the options, and then Kubernetes is like, oh yeah, I can handle that.
Yeah, no, but importing existing relationship is kind of important one. It's like the static provision, right? We're having that for everything else. For snapshot, for everything, we have the static provision support, right? I mean, the provision sounds like.
No, I guess I get what you're saying, but we have to push all the ugliness back onto the vendors to basically say, look,
no, I don't think this is ugly though. I think this is very practical. You don't want to
what I'm saying is like
something new and then it's not practical, right? Because I think this is actually would be very, very useful use case for importing existing relationship.
But what I'm getting at is like the way that relationships will be created by this API when it eventually exists will be fairly proscribed. It'll be, every relationship is going to look like such and such. Whereas existing relationships will be much more free form and have lots of other knobs you can tweak.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to have.
And so it's going to be a requirement for the storage vendor to basically deal with those mismatches and either fix them or detect them and stop them from doing bad things. And so because Kubernetes can't be required to deal with that. So I think that'll just be because you can have the same thing with volumes, right? A volume that was provisioned in a particularly weird way, then you import it into Kubernetes and you get weird behavior. That's not Kubernetes' fault. It's the storage vendor allowed something weird to happen. So I guess we would do the same thing.
Similar case. Yeah. So definitely we'll have to add the limitations, right? So we'll support this. Right, because when I was looking at that, then if we want to support importing existing relationship, that's when we have, in volume group snapshot, right? We have the volume group snapshot and volume group snapshot content. We need to have two objects, so making it more complicated. That's where I am. I was looking at this. But we do have existing patterns for doing that already. But definitely more complicated and more ugly, as you said. Yeah, it's true. But it's more also practical, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it should be allowed, but allowed, with the requirements placed on the storage vendor to figure out how to make it work. is such that it's indistinguishable from any other relationship created the normal way.
Yeah. So, and then the other one I was looking at is I was looking at this sorry, all this thing around. I couldn't show this other. Right, so I was looking at this. So if more than one pair, more than one order mappings are supported for one relationship, does not look like here there's a way to track the status of the individual pairs. So
yeah, look at volume. So look at the bottom in the spec of the TMR. Volume mappings is an array. You see the hyphen?
It is yes, it is an array, but this is just the mappings, but does not show status, right? This is just like this is just a local PVs, local PVs.
The status is on the relationship, and if you're replicating as a group, then it's presumably all or nothing. Like either they're all
okay, so just show the
replicated to their
yeah. I guess that's my
are.
question. Basically, just shows the group status, does not really show individual pairs, because that is just
well, it's because they have to be the same by definition, at least in the NetApp case.
Right. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Right, that's kind of what we assumed for the group snapshot case. Right, same. So if something happened, probably the array needs to handle it, in the backend itself. Right. So if there was something, otherwise it's treated the same. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So you can't really have like some pairs are already, let's say, promoted, others are still staying behind. They're maybe all like, maybe if that's the case, then maybe it's neither promoted nor not promoted. It's kind of in progress or something. We probably need to have some in between status, I was thinking, right? Because if you have, let's say you this was a primary and secondary, and then you're promoting the secondary into the primary, but only half get there. So then in that case, it's like, I wonder if that should still be staying as the old original state until everything is. Do we have a intermediate state? I was wondering, like in progress. So your target state, like spec, you probably have say, hey, promoted, but then your status might be showing it's still working on something. Maybe it's in progress, or if it's
you're asking about the specifics of the NetApp implementation?
This is also in general, right? So if you are moving, let's say from, let's say this is initial secondary, you move it to promoted. So you change this in a spec to promoted. This will be your target final state. And then the status, it's not going to be promoted to Starbucks, right? Because it's going to take some time for you to do that. So this probably initially it's going to be like secondary, and then you move it to what in progress. I was thinking, okay, it's probably that's
I don't know.
A little tricky, yeah.
You don't necessarily want too much detail. I mean, because there could be systems where it happens instantaneously, and they'll just transition from.
Right. So maybe it makes sense just to keep it as a, let's say, secondary until it at the end reached promoted, both are the same. Otherwise, it's like the status should be old state until it's changed.
I think the question we would have to ask is there a controller that would do anything in response to it being in the transitional state, or is it just informational?
I think it's like kind of waiting, I think, right? So basically if it's in progress, you're supposed to wait, right? Not what are you going to do if it's in progress?
But I mean, if the spec doesn't match the status, it's by definition in progress, and you can see that by looking at the object. Yeah. So I don't know if you gain any more information by seeing that the status says it's in progress.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Okay. So maybe status, maybe this back. Very until it is complete. It's also commented. Something like that. Okay. I think that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So I still need to think more about this, about the design. So I don't have more topics. Are there anything else you guys want to discuss?
Not me.
All right. Then that's it for today. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Xing.
Thanks, folks.